They control 1 in every 4 pesos spent by Filipinos, and they've managed to stay completely out of the spotlight until now. When you think of the great fortunes of the Philippines, names like CI, Ayala, and Lopez immediately come to mind, don't they? These are families who built their empires right out in the open for everyone to see. But what if I told you that some of the deepest, most enduring roots of wealth in the Philippines actually lie in a secret history? A fascinating story of pioneers and magnates who arrived on these shores centuries ago, quietly building fortunes that would profoundly shape the nation, all while hiding in plain sight. This isn't just a tale of old money. It's the story of the secret billionaires you've probably never heard of, and the powerful historical forces that brought them here, shaping their legacy of discretion. Imagine this. It's 1870, and 3 brothers step off a steamship into the bustling port of Manila Bay. What did they carry? Not trunks overflowing with gold, but rather carefully packed Alsatian watches and a single cryptic instruction from their father: never speak of where you come from. These were the Levy brothers, Leopold, Ludwig, and Leon, Sephardic Jews who had, for generations, survived the brutal Spanish Inquisition by cleverly pretending to be Catholic merchants. When opportunities for prosperity finally dried up in a changing Europe, they looked eastward, toward Spain's farthest and most promising colony. Manila back then was still a city walled off from the outside world, a colonial relic. Yet its port was wide open, a gateway to new possibilities. Incredibly, within just a year, these enterprising brothers had opened La Estrella del Norte on Escolta, which was for its time the 5th Avenue of Manila. They sold exquisite jewelry, yes, but they also introduced Filipinos to the very first imported bicycles, the revolutionary Kodak cameras, and, because Leon had actually trained as a chemist, the first aspirin tablets the islands had ever seen. By 1890, their meticulously kept ledger books revealed they were clearing what would, in today's money, amount to just under $2 million a month. Think about that for a second. And they did it all so quietly. No flashy mansions to draw attention, no ostentatious displays of wealth. Instead, they shared a discreet warehouse in Binondo, its attic serving dual purposes as both their office and their synagogue. When the Philippine Revolution erupted, the brothers didn't hesitate. They covertly financed ammunition for Emilio Aguinaldo's troops. In a gesture of profound gratitude, the general later granted them extensive timber rights in Mindanao. These rights, incredibly, are still held by their descendants today, woven into a complex web of holding companies, quietly generating wealth away from public scrutiny. It's a testament to their foresight and the enduring power of quiet influence. Fast forward a few decades to 1921. The American flag now proudly flies over Manila, signaling a new era. And with it, another Jewish family sails in: the Frieders. Unlike the Levies, they weren't fleeing immediate persecution just yet. They were chasing a different kind of fortune: tobacco. Cincinnati had the taste for fine cigars, and Manila had the perfect leaf. Within months, their Helena cigar factory on Calle San Juan was rolling out 10,000 stogies a day. That's a lot of cigars. But the Frieders did something the Levies never quite dared to do. They went public with their identity. They courageously formed the Jewish Refugee Committee of Manila. As Hitler's menacing shadow stretched across Europe, they transformed their considerable profits into precious passports. Between 1937 and 1941, they personally sponsored 1,200 refugees, a diverse group of doctors, dentists, and toolmakers, each one carefully vetted for skills the islands desperately needed. President Quezon's government, recognizing the value of this infusion of talent, generously donated Marikina land. The Frieders, in turn, paid for their passage. It was an incredible act of humanitarianism and strategic nation-building. This infusion of talent wasn't just charity, it was an economic shot in the arm for the entire nation. Refugee physicians opened the very first radiology clinic, bringing cutting-edge medical technology to the Philippines. Viennese chemists formulated the local version of penicillin, a medical breakthrough for the region. And one ingenious Berlin machinist started a precision parts shop that would later supply critical landing gear assemblies to Clark Air Base. None of these ventures necessarily made the Frieders headline billionaires in the traditional sense, but they ingeniously locked their family into the vital supply chains of a nation preparing for war, and, crucially, for its eventual reconstruction. Their legacy wasn't just in cigars, but in the very fabric of a modernizing Philippines.
While the Frieders were rolling their cigars, a Bavarian named Emil Bachrach arrived with a completely different kind of currency: trust. Bachrach had honed his skills managing a regional bank in Shanghai and shrewdly saw Manila as the next great sponge for Pacific capital. In 1923, he opened Bachrach & Co., essentially establishing the first true investment house in the islands. He underwrote expansions for burgeoning sugar mills, financed the tramway line that, in some form, still runs from Binondo to Cavite, and quietly, brilliantly, bought up distressed Spanish-era land titles at courthouse auctions, often for a song. But Bachrach also wrote checks for something far more intangible, a profound sense of belonging. He generously funded Temple Emil on Taft Avenue, creating the first permanent synagogue south of Shanghai. Membership dues weren't just for spiritual comfort. They were, in essence, networking luncheons before networking was even a word. Picture this: German chemical engineers, American mining engineers, and prominent Filipino ilustrados exchanging business cards and ideas over challah bread. Deals were sealed, partnerships forged, and futures mapped out long before the dessert wine was even poured. It was a powerful nexus of commerce and community. By 1936, Bachrach's personal balance sheet, meticulously archived at the American Historical Collection, listed real estate holdings whose book value alone would equal roughly $280 million today. Yet, despite this enormous wealth, he lived in a modest two-story house on Kansas Street, drove his own DeSoto, and insisted his children attend public schools.